Chapter 20. Grace. Don't judge me. It's possible to miss Needles and still believe it was a good thing when Brandon set him free. I miss Needles and everything that came with keeping a secret pet. I miss being part of a tiny group that knew about him. As much as I love the Oasis, I have to admit that the thrill of sneaking out to a little shed at the edge of the woods made everything that much better. It reminds me of the rush I get. Hold on. There we go. It reminds me of the rush I get from riding on the back of Dad's motorcycle. Pure exhilaration. The fact that Needles had to go doesn't change that. I even miss Brooklyn. I still don't 100% trust her, but hanging around Needles, I sensed that she was becoming more open and honest, like her secretive side was more about us not asking the right questions than her trying to hide things from us. All that's over now. Needles is gone, and Brooklyn is practically gone too. Except for the dining hall, I hardly ever see her. And even there, she keeps her distance. I no longer suspect she's with the CIA, but now she might as well be. Tyrell is also different with Needles out of the picture. He still comes to awakening in the bath and the meditation and the other stuff, but he's kind of stone-faced and doesn't say much more. Plus, his scratching and sneezing have gotten a lot worse, as if his allergies took a quantum jump to the next level. That shouldn't have anything to do with a lizard, but some doctors say your love can have a positive impact on health. We all love Needles, so maybe losing him has affected us in different ways. It makes me sad. By the way, the one person I don't miss is Jet. He acts like he's more upset about looting Needles than any of us, when it's obviously the only thing that guy gives a flying leap about is himself, and maybe his father's money. Too bad nobody left the door to Cottage 29 open and let him escape. The nerve of that guy, pretending to be searching for Needles like his heart is broken. If he had a heart, which I doubt, you probably couldn't break it with a diamond drill bit. Every time I see him peering into the spaces under the sheds and cottages or combing through the tall grass, I want to scream. Here's the one thing I'll never tell Jet. It's a pretty good chance Needles really is out there somewhere. I've been seeing a lot of evidence of a small predator at work around the center. A lot of tiny dead animals and birds scattered all over. I know I'm not making it up when Magnus sets down his yoga mat next to a half-eaten baby sparrow and just about breaks his heart over the poor little thing. Mom and I are both in that class. Yoga is one of the only activities that adults and kids take together. I guess it's just nature, Mom offers soothingly, the circle of life and all that. Magnus pulls a handkerchief out of his periwinkle blue warm-up suit and dabs at his eyes. There must be a newcomer to the food chain in our woodland community, he decides in his quiet voice. That's why we're seeing so much tragic loss of animal life. Perhaps a hawk. So help me, I actually look up to the sky, hoping to spot a bird of prey swooping above the trees. But in my heart, I know there's no hawk. The newcomer to the food chain is Needles. Now that he's not getting any more hamburger from the supermarket in Hedge Apple, he's on the hunt. Mom notices that I'm kind of gloomy these days, but I can't tell her the truth, so I explain I'm a little extra lonesome for Benito this summer. It's only half lie, since my bad mood is definitely related to a pet. Anyway, Mom believes me. Benito got sprayed by a skunk a couple weeks before we left for the Oasis, and there isn't enough tomato juice in the world to erase that. But the truth is, I'm ashamed to admit I haven't thought of Benito at least a week, or even Dad, who has to live with the smell of fading skunk and stale tomato juice. The Oasis just isn't restoring me the way it used to. Even the bath, which always made me feel relaxed and wonderful, isn't doing the trick anymore. I'm nestled in my favorite rock alcove, mineral steam rising all around me, but my shoulders are tight, my jaw is clenched, and I'm getting nothing out of it. This is the place where I found Needles, and I can't shake the feeling he might come back here. Tyrell is there with me, scratching. He's never scratched in the bath before. Stop it, I tell him irritably. I'm itchy, he complains. It's impossible to feel an itch at these temperatures. He doesn't even argue that. Yeah, but I know how bad it's going to itch when I get out. You guys, Jeff's voice sounds distant over the bubbling of the hot spring. Over here. Tyrell starts to get out. I put an iron grip on his arm. We're not his servants. Let him come to us. Jet peels off his shirt, kicks out of his shoes, and plows into the water. I wait for the grimace of suffering on his face. It doesn't appear. Come on, where's the suffering? What's up? Tyrell asks Jet. Ivory's a con artist, Jet exclaims. I'd probably turn bright red, except when you're in the bath, you're already as red as possible. That's Rich, I explain. The most respected Pathfinder here, second to only Magnus himself, is a con artist. What does that make you? A saint? Jet turns to Tyrell. Didn't you tell her? Tyrell looks uncomfortable. I didn't tell anybody, not even my mother. Tell me what, I persist. We spied on Ivory doing meditation with my dad, Tyrell manages. It was weird, scary even. You don't know the half of it, Jet puts in. You'll never guess what I found in her cottage. I nearly swallow my tongue. What were you doing in Ivory's cottage? I broke in, he replies like it's the most normal thing in the world. You what? After all that happened with Tyrell's dad, I had to learn more about this so-called Pathfinder, Jet explains, like why all the adults love her so much. Turns out it's because she brainwashes them. That shows how much you know, I explode. Meditation can be really intense when you get to a high level like Ivory. It might seem like brainwashing to somebody who doesn't understand. I was there too, Grace, Tyrell interrupts. Maybe it wasn't brainwashing, and I'm not sure what to call it, but it definitely wasn't right. Maybe this will convince you, Jet tells me. She has a cell phone in there, the lady who confiscates everybody else's technology, and a closet full of expensive dresses. I cut him off. It's not a crime to have nice clothes. And you know what was in her jacket pocket? A restaurant receipt for steak. She took someone out to dinner, I shoot back. Just because her guests ate meat doesn't mean she did too. He looks exasperated. You haven't heard the best part yet. She got a whole stack of checks in her desk, big ones with lots of zeros. They're made out to friends of the Oasis. And there's one from practically every adult here. Your mother, for one. He turns to Tyrell. And your dad. Dated same day we heard Ivory messing with his head. I roll my eyes at him. Is this supposed to be an example of the great Baranov brain? People come here because they believe in the Oasis. Is it so weird that they make donations to the place? Tyrell seems torn. I don't know, Grace. My family's not rich. We saved up the money to come here because my folks are obsessed with their diets. But big donations on top of that? I don't think we can afford it. We're not rich either, I insist. But when I think about it, it's tough for kids to judge that kind of thing. I hear my dad grumbling about the cost of Benito's dog food and figure we're practically broke. But then my folks will go out and splurge on a 72-inch TV. Like you would know anything about living on a budget, I asked Jet. Jet spreads his arms wide, splashing hot water in my face. Matt wrote a check, and he doesn't have a lot of money. This is different. Friends of the Oasis. It sounds like a charity, but what is it? When you pay your bill here, you pay the Oasis, not any friends. What's up with that? I'm annoyed. Well, according to you, a whole lot of people have written checks to the friends, so it must be something. Of course it's something. The question is it something sleazy? He turns to Tyrell. Ivory had your dad crying at the thought of losing the Oasis and made him promise to do anything to save it. Next thing you know, there's a check for $7,500 of your family's money sitting in Ivory's desk drawer. Tyrell is tight-lipped. I'm not talking about that, he mumbles, and if you were my friend, you wouldn't talk about it either. I am your friend, Jet exclaims, and that's why we have to get to the bottom of this. My family is none of your business, Tyrell shoots back. I wheel on Jet. Can't you see he's upset? I know he's upset. What Ivory did to his dad. I cut him off. Meditation is very personal and highly emotional. A lot of people are moved to tears. You weren't there, he thunders. I don't know if I've ever been so angry. This isn't about Mr. Kerrigan. This is because you always have to prove that you're right and everybody else is stupid. It's not enough that you don't like it here. There has to be some terrible secret. You guys are blind, he accuses us. You can't see what's staring you in the face. He turns his back and starts splashing away. When I try to put a comforting hand on Tyrell's shoulder, he shrugs me off. I was wrong about all the things that are spoiling the Oasis this summer. There's exactly one thing, and its name is Jet Baranov.